We hear a lot about fiber optics in the news, but usually the context that we hear about it is fiber optic internet. And while data transmission is a great use of it, and it's used a lot in industry as well, there's also another use for fiber optics, and what we can do is take our electronics, like our sensors, and move them away from the really heavy vibrating sensitive stuff and keep them a little bit safer. The fiber optics allow us to do that while still using the light transfer that most of the proximity sensors rely on. Now, if you move the sensor, it's pointed in the wrong direction. So how can the light still point in the right direction if you've moved the sensor? Well, that's the job of fiber optics. Fiber optics are really small tubes of glass or plastic composites that can be bent, and these tubes are solid and they do not allow the light to reflect out of them like a normal transparent tube, which means that any light that enters one end of the cable will come out exactly the same way out the other end of the cable. Let's demonstrate. Over here we have a blue light, and if we look at the end of the fiber optic cable, especially if we cover it up and make it dark, we can see that the end of the fiber optic cable is dark. But if we move it over something with a light, even a colored light, we can see that color very brightly coming out the other end. In fact, although this fiber optic cable has been kind of used and the ends are a little bit worn, if we have one that's very high quality with a protective cover, even if we shine a laser pointer into one end, it will still come out as a laser focused dot at the other end. So that means that we can take our sensors, the very expensive sensitive circuitry inside them, move them away from the vibrating equipment, and allow the fiber optic to transmit that light over long distances to make sure that we get it exactly where it needs to be. They're simple devices, but they're really difficult to make and therefore expensive, but that ability to transmit light through a tube around curves is really fascinating.